You know about the Brits, the Jesuits, the aliens, the lizards?
Reptilian side of our brain.
We all needed David Icke. Quick question, just you answer. Do you believe in the reptilian theory?
For me, I don't have enough evidence myself to believe in it, but I think as a metaphor, it's perfect. The people that David Icke calls reptilians are certainly cold-blooded, and they care only about power, and they don't seem to have very much humanity. So for me, the metaphor works very well, because we all have the reptilian brain, which is a simple,
that's true, the
violent brain. So yeah, as a metaphor, for me, it works. But the reptilian thing is David Icke's thing, and I respect him massively, because I understand where he's coming from. I truly do. And throughout history, like painters and writers and artists and write their books have always portrayed demons as reptilian.
Right. It's throughout our history.
Yeah, so it's a very common myth, like in mythology.
This is what a police state looks like.
If you had arrived from another planet, you could never have guessed which nations had spent decades mired in hostility. Now, you might call it the Fellowship of the Lifeboat. But, ladies and gentlemen, in that brief parting of the veil, I saw world leadership at its best, a glimpse of a hopeful future, one where we act together for the good of all, the world we have been trying to build since 1945.
Informed of a mysterious sighting in the east of England during World War II, the former Prime Minister hushed things up for fear of causing widespread panic. Former head of the MOD's UFO department, Nick Pope, explains more.
There's been some suggestion that Churchill tried to cover some of this up because he feared that it might undermine people's religious beliefs. I'm not sure about that, but he was certainly interested in the subject.
But is the weight of documentation enough for Pope to believe in little green men?
I'm convinced that there's life elsewhere in the universe. As to whether we're being visited or not, I don't know. I can't rule it out.
The files go on show at the National Archives for all of those interested in guaranteed sightings.
There are so many reasons why this whole New Age infiltration of the truth movement is dangerous, but that coupled with the alien agenda, the New Age agenda and the alien agenda, and 2012 ties into all of this. It's a very diabolical thing that's happening.
And I call this enlightened sovereignty.
The rabbit hole goes so deep, it's staggering. And we're not even dealing with just human entities. We're dealing with non-human entities. We're dealing with entities that operate outside the field of vision of what we call visible light, which our eyes can see and appears to be this world. There are other worlds.
Well, David, I'll say this.
Penetrate this one, and it's involving those two. So this is really, really deep stuff that we're dealing with here. Not just what appears to be men in dark suits sitting around a table deciding their next move. Much bigger than that.
Well, no, I agree with you, because I've studied the elite, and they believe they're in contact with entities. I've been to Bohemian Grove. I've covered Skull and Bones. I've read the Pentagon's own writings. They believe they're being given, every one of them. It says they're channeling things, that they're being directed at the highest levels. At the mid-levels, it's hedonist, it's Satanist, it's people that want money and power. At the top, these are very focused people working 18 hours a day, and they believe they're working for an entity that I can only describe as the devil. People can call it whatever they want. David, stay there. Let's look at some other contemporary.
I think most Americans feel that way, but what is still true is that there's still kind of a reptilian side of our brain.
To the President of the United States, on The View, really? The View? Is that more important than our lives, than our welfare? The people of New York need you. The last president before you failed us. We need your leadership. I will take this past the president. I'll go to Mars. I'll do a press conference on Venus. The American people will know.
TorontoTruthSeekers.com.
I recommend you check out Chris White. His YouTube channel is no as in knowledge, not as in negative. Nowhere to Run, 1984. Jordan Maxwell Debunked and Bill Cooper Debunks Jordan Maxwell are two excellent movies. Now, Michael Tessarian is Wrong, a debunkumentary on Michael Tessarian called Michael Tessarian is Wrong, and Tessarian, Rose and Cross are two excellent movies.
The one thing that people, generally speaking, do not want to hear is the truth. Nobody is happy when they have to be faced with the truth.
Reptilian side of our brain.
There are some brave people, like maybe you here today, who are at least open to hear something that may conflict with what you believe or what you know, but at least you're truth seekers. That's what I have always been, as a truth seeker.
Reptilian side of our brain, right? That part of our brain that if somebody looks different or sounds different, that there's a part of us that is cautious. And what we have to do is fight against that, and
there's an agenda. This New Age agenda, the 2012 deception, and the alien agenda are all tied together. And knowledge is power. If you understand what's been done and what's going on, then I feel so much better having gained some understanding, because I felt so overwhelmed about a year ago. And I can see, I feel like I've gotten to the end of the rabbit hole, and that's good.
We'll start by sending astronauts to an asteroid for the first time in history. By the mid-2030s, I believe we can send humans to orbit Mars and return them safely to Earth. And a landing on Mars will follow, and I expect to be around to see it.
Super Aliens DVD 2010.
I understand that some believe that we should attempt a return to the surface of the moon first, as previously planned. But I just have to say, pretty bluntly here, we've been there before. Buzz has been there. There's a lot more of space to explore and a lot more to learn when we do. So I believe it's more important to ramp up our capabilities to reach and operate at a series of increasingly demanding targets while advancing our technological capabilities with each step forward. And that's what this strategy does.
Saturn and his new world order better wake up. This is Jordan Maxwell.
Hi, this is Charlie Veach of the Love Police, and this is TorontoTruthSeekers.com.